James, you were a big Bernie guy. How do you think it is to be Bernie Sanders right now? Where Kamala Harris once endorsed a lot of his policies when she was running against him, like Medicare for all. Now she's like running away from his policies, and Bernie's even playing the part of telling everyone, like, "Yeah, look, she's not as progressive as me. Don't worry, moderates." And
Look,
how do you think he's feeling?
Look, there was nobody more disappointed in Bernie Sanders than Bernie Sanders. I've got Bernie Sanders propaganda, the posters, the stickers, the bumper stickers. I've got them up all over my house in Burlington, and I look at them and I think, my God, I really sold out. Imagine being a fan of a band and you're in the band too. And you're simultaneously, you got to go out and do the thing, and you're also disappointed every time you look in the mirror. That's what it's like to be Bernie Sanders these days. Look, we are not in 2016. We are not in 2020. We are further along in the slide towards a catastrophic disaster. And in my view, and when I say that, that means that's just the way I see things. In my view, that means when I see something, I'm going to say it. In my view, Kamala Harris is the best we got. I'm too old, let's face it.
You are. It's true.
I am too old. Yeah. And it took me decades to realize that. We are doing the best we can, which in this society, in our current timeline, is not enough. But that's what we're doing.
I actually wanted to ask you, James, because you and I have known each other for a while, since I guess the mid-2000s.
Yep, laughing liberally.
Laughing liberally. Oh,
back
my God.
in the days of Justin Krebs and Marc Maron and that whole scene.
And you do a very good Marc Maron, by the way. I was watching your Maron versus Maron show.
Man. I don't know, man. It's fucked. It's fucked. I don't know. I have problems. I have problems with all sides, but you realize, I'm kind of stuck here.
Speaking of billionaires, I want to bring Elon Musk into this chat and
I appreciate
ask Mr. Musk a question about a recent appearance you made with the Prime Minister of Italy. Let's go to the picture, Wilson. There you are with Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni. Now,
looking great. Always looking for another mother to a child who maybe accomplishes panspermia on Mars. And when I say panspermia, it usually involves my pansperm.
Now, when she was elected, she was
fantastic, by the way.
She was accused of being a fascist. She had roots in authoritarian movements inside Italy. But all this has seemed to have disappeared recently. And here you are having a really public confab with her, and there was even talk of some sparks flying. I'm just curious, your thoughts on her tenure and fascism in general.
There's the woke, like referred to as the woke mind virus, and they freely will toss around these racial slurs like fascist against people like me. And I've always said that I was pretty centrist and thought of myself as liberal, and it's not me who, sort of became more conservative. It's Democrats that have left me. And there's some very crude cartoons that have illustrated this point of view that I've reposted many times. And they'll call you a fascist, and it's a terrible, hurtful slur like cis and cisgendered. And they'll easily say that to you without looking at a picture like that, which is clear evidence. Obviously, scientific evidence like that people that are labeled as fascists and smeared that way are pretty much just like very attractive people that are just simply better than everyone, like living, like we're drinking wine and smiling and obviously flirting. And I mean, you don't know, but presumably fucking in some penthouse that you don't even have access to. And why is that fascist? That's just better than you.
I want to know what Jordan Peterson's thoughts were on Elon Musk, on the elections, on Meloni.
Well, we've got fellas, you've got to look at it when there's a moderate conservative who comes to power like Meloni in Italy. You've got to get out of bed and make your bed, and you've got to start masturbating about her, because it's the sexual power that we have to make these sex symbols of our right-wing figures. She's your trad wife. She's got to be the standard bearer as the trad wife, the great
the great Statue of Liberty, if you will, but the flame of the fasci. And that's what we've got to start masturbating to it, and make sure you clean it up, boys. Put it in the toilet, put it in the bin.
What do you think Mike Lindell's thoughts on this are of My Pillow?
Oh, you got to get out of California. Let me tell you, I've got a code right now. Call in. We've got 4,400 pillows left, and we got the IRS banging down the door. The banks are coming after the loans. I took out a loan to fight a lawsuit against a bank. I'm losing lawsuits in the middle of lawsuits. You got to enter the code 1488. You got to enter the code 1488, and if it brings up a two-factor authentication, you click on the button that says white power, and that means pillow power, because they come white from my factory. But let me tell you something. California, wow, radical, woke, liberal. Elon Musk is right. Hey, Elon, I kissed your ass. Can I get a grant of some kind? I can't operate without a budget of at least $1 million.
James, somebody who's like you is excited about Tim Walz is his fellow Minnesotan, Jesse the Body Ventura.
That's a big endorsement when you get the Ventura endorsement, because he's like, I don't support the duopoly. There's a duopoly out there. It's like a monopoly, but there's two bankers and they coordinate with each other. I'm not in favor.
Well, if the Kamala Harris campaign, took the leap of like letting people like Jesse Ventura make the case for them, if he was a campaign surrogate rather than like Hillary Clinton people, I mean, how do you think he'd be getting out the vote right now for Kamala Harris?
Look, I've been in the ring. I've been an announcer. I have a wrestling history with Kamala from back in the 1980s wrestling days. Now I understand it's a different figure today. What I'm saying is, I'm just asking questions. And could it get any worse? That's the question I'm asking now. She's making some signals. She's making some moves. I think that when you see Trump, you see a fraud on a historic level.
Do you think Chris Matthews misses being on the air regularly?
Ooh, of course he does, more than anybody. Okay, let's look at this. Can you imagine? He must have like entered a catatonic state when he saw Joe Biden drop out and Kamala Harris replace him. That is a horse race moment. He lived his whole life to be there for that. Oh my God, we've got Biden out, Kamala in. We'll be after breaking news. Kamala out, Biden in, folks. Biden. Donna Brazil, what do you think about Kamala? Kamala's up, Biden's down. Where do we go with that? We go from Delaware to California. There's not really a rail connection out there. Where do you think? You think Biden was forced to do it? Do you think he was forced to? Do you think it was a palace coup? Oh my God, that must have been very tough for him not to be there for that moment.
I do miss him warning us about Fidel Castro, Bernie Sanders.
I know these guys, these Bernie guys. They wanted to string me up in Central Park. I remember these guys when I worked for Chip O'Neill. They said Chip O'Neill wasn't left wing enough, and they would take a guy like me because I was wearing a suit. They would string me up in Central Park. They used to have Che Guevara shirts. There's nothing more scary than Che Guevara shirt like that.